Hello, everyone. In today's video, I'm going to teach you about what a relational database is and why your business needs one. So we're going to start with something you're probably all familiar with, an Excel spreadsheet. So you have a company where you're selling various books, let's say CDs, whatever. And this is a list of your orders. You have it all nice in an Excel spreadsheet, and things look pretty good, right? I mean, you have the first name, last name, address, city, state, zip, the order date, the order total, and of course, for the purposes of example, there's probably other columns you would have in here, email, phone number, etc. But we're just trying to keep it simple here because you've seen in Microsoft Office, you know what Word is, you know what Excel is. What is Access? Well, Microsoft Access is a step up from Excel. It's a relational database system. And what I'm here to show you today, my goal here is to show you what is a relational database, why does it matter, and what advantage does Access give you that Excel doesn't. Here at DB Database Solutions, we certainly work with Excel. We work with data in all formats. But Excel isn't always the answer, as many of you probably have found out. Let's take a look at let's take a look at the data we have here. And right away, you'll start to notice some problems. Let's just start right here at the very beginning. So this is one order. You notice the same first name, last name, address, same order date, same order total. Why do we have 3 lines? Well, we have 3 lines because there are 3 line items in the order. So this is probably not the best way to keep track of your orders because there's too much redundant information. I don't think I need to tell you that, if someone made an error on the address, let's say, and you need to change to, okay, that's terrific, but now you're going to find all of the Washington, D.C.s in here. Actually, all the Washington, D.C.s that are in this person's first name and last name, and change them to Mount Vernon, Virginia. Of course, we're hoping that there aren't multiple pairs of George Washington in this database. We don't have any concept of customer ID. You might have a customer ID in your table, but imagine, now this database, this spreadsheet is fairly simple. There's only 96 rows. If you've got even a small to medium-sized business, and we're only talking about the orders, you could have thousands of rows. Imagine Louise Davidson has to changes her name to Louise Smith, maybe gets married, who knows? And now you've got to find every instance and hope you don't miss any. So while this looks organized, this can really be a mess. What Access allows you to do is take tables and relate them to each other. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to break out a table that is only for customers. So you can see what we've done here is we've taken this huge table here, we've separated it out into 3 smaller tables. So again, we don't want customer information repeating on several rows. So let's just start with that. So there are, in these 96 rows, it turns out there are 16 unique customers. So what we did is essentially we only have 1 row for every customer, and anything that's not directly related to the customer was removed. For example, the product name here, the order total, these are not properties of the customer. The order total is properties of a customer and an order. The product name is the property of a customer combined with an order line. So these have no place in the customer's table. Then we go to the orders table, and now we don't need any of the customer information. We don't need the address and everything because everything boils down to the customer ID. If I want information on the orders for Alex Fuller, I just have to look up customer ID 7. Now, of course, this is not going to be done manually. I have to point this out. You're not going to literally go from spreadsheet to spreadsheet, table to table, looking these things up manually. That's what an application is for. We're going to show you that in a little bit. But so we only have customer ID, an order ID, because we need to relate an order back to a customer, an order date and order total. These are the only other fields that are just a property of the order. Technically, the order should go in the first column. Yeah, because it's the orders table, there should be one unique identifier. We call this a primary key. That's the terminology for it. But we have an order ID, and then each order ID has a matching customer ID, and the order date and order total relate to that. A customer ID, order date, and order total are all properties of the order. And finally, we go to order line. So everything in here, here's the order line. Just to be consistent, we'll put this first. I just want to illustrate the point that order ID is a sense of property of the order line. Order line 1 has order ID and product name, the quantity, the price each, the extended price. These are properties of a specific line within an order. Okay, so that's how we break this thing down. Now, again, we are not going to do this manually. That's what an application is for. So over here, what we've done is we've taken those worksheets that we created and we've uploaded them into Microsoft Access. So here's the customers, here's the order lines, and here's the orders. And I want to show you something else called relationships. So this diagram shows you how the three tables are related to each other. That's why it's a relational database. So one customer can appear in many orders, but we only want the customer to appear once in the customers table, but obviously that customer will have several orders. Likewise, the one order ID will have several order lines, but we don't want to repeat the order date and the order total in all of these. That would be redundant. So you see what can happen here is if we go to a combined table, now this is what we call a query. It's a think of it as a combination of tables. But I want to show you a couple things here. Notice customers, we can actually have subtables to show you how this is related. Customers, if I click on Frances Clark, I can see all her orders. Louise Davidson, George Drew, I can see all the orders. And I can even click into the order to see all the order lines. See, this is what we mean by relational. They're all related to each other. So if I want to go to, let's say, the combined tables, this query, now let's say I entered Billy's name wrong. Change it, and watch what happens. It changes in all the other instances too. Why? Well, because combined tables is based on this connection of tables, which means if I take a customer name and change it here, I only have to change it in one place. The customer name is not in here or in here. You look at it another way, the relationships, if I change if I change a customer name, that will cascade down into everything else. I only have, because everything else relates back to the customers. The customer name is only in one place, and therefore changing it once changes it everywhere that's where it's related. And this is another, a more fully developed application. But this shows you the power of what we can do with Access. Because, as I said earlier, you're not going to look up, you're not going to take, okay, well, this is customer ID 7, so we're going to look in the orders table, we're going to manually, you don't manually update these things. You don't update them in the tables. You build beautiful looking forms like this. Now, this is not the same set of tables. This is an address book, but same thing. I can have a big form like this. I can search, I can filter, so I can have last name Alexander, city, which one of those is in Spokane. I can then double click on one of these, and this is where you enter. You can also, if I wanted to, I could make this state a drop-down box, a combo box. You can only enter a state. If I try to enter something that's not a state, it won't let me do it, and then it'll avoid all sorts of data entry errors, keeps your data neat, keeps your data consistent, and makes it much, much easier to work with than just a simple spreadsheet. Excel spreadsheets certainly have their place for something simple. You want to do some calculations. For some things some things with formulas and calculations, Excel is quicker and simpler. But oftentimes you need the power that Access can give you, and that is what we do here at DB Data Solutions. We have many examples of applications like this. We have walkthrough videos for them. We could develop anything like this for your business, for a sample, for a portfolio. Visit our website, visit our YouTube page, and take a look at all the things that we can do with data and help you make your data work for you. Thanks for watching.